Hey, principals. This is Barbara Polk here. Welcome to Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. Today, we're going to be looking at ways for you as principals to think about the kinds of questions that you are going to prepare when you are doing your interviewing for your incoming teachers. Now, I know you say, well, we haven't taken the last STAR test, and you're talking about hiring teachers. Yes, that's right. Because of the teacher shortage that we have to make sure that we get the right people in the right places at the right time. And we can't wait until the last minute. And as I've also taught you, you have to have a teacher team to be able to help you with those questions because, these teacher teams, they're going to be the ones that's going to be working with those teachers. So, you as a principal, of course, it's going to be your key responsibility to ensure that the teachers you hire not only possess the necessary qualifications and the credentials, but you have to make sure that these people, these new teachers that you have on your campus will align with your school culture. So you need to find out a way where you can understand how these teachers that you have on your campus can effectively support teachers, other teachers, and also those students who are in poverty, because we are focusing on our urban school children and our urban school teachers and our urban schools and our rural schools. So what we're going to do to facilitate the process, we're going to go on and get started with the questions that you need to be answering. So the first thing is that you are going to have to find out if these new teachers understand your school culture. So you have to understand that these teachers have to identify your core values, your mission, and your vision. And if they cannot understand your core values, your mission, and your vision on your campus, then they are not the right people to be on your campus. They're not the right people for you to consider to work as teachers on your campus. So you say, I hear you, Dr. Polk, you're talking about the vision, the mission, and the core values all the time. Would you just reiterate just what those are so that I can be able to explain those to my teachers? Well, your school vision is simply just a long-range statement about what you want to have as your aspirations and your goals on your campus. So you may decide that I want to have 100% of my 8th graders to pass the Algebra 1 end of course test. So you say, well, that is just impossible. No, it's not impossible. That is your vision. That's what you want. That's what we want for our children. And that is also a part of your school culture, because you want people who can believe that these students can achieve. And if you don't believe that they can achieve, then, what's the use in having a vision? So your vision can be that you want all of your 8th graders to master the Algebra 1 end of course test. And your mission is just a statement that articulates the purpose of the goals. So you can say that our mission is to provide a rigorous and inclusive learning environment where everybody is supported. And then your core values are what you believe. You know that on this campus, we believe in collaboration. We don't work one-on-one. We don't go into our room, close our doors, and then walk out, with a fantastic plan that we're going to be teaching for the remainder of the week. No, our core value is that we collaborate. Our core value is that we respect diversity. And in this time, we have to have that as a core value. We respect diversity. We respect inclusion. We respect the dignity of people on this campus. We aspire for excellence. I don't care how hard it is, it's excellence that we are aspiring. And we're going to hold everybody accountable. So once you can understand your vision, your mission, and your core values, then you can be able to ask two questions. And the first question is that you can ask your aspiring new teacher, how do you see your teaching style contributing to our school's culture and values? Now, let me be perfectly clear. When you develop these questions, all of your teachers will have the same questions. And they can make notes on there. They can decide that I'm going to ask the questions about culture. I'm going to ask the question about mission. I'm going to ask the question about vision. And then once those questions are asked and you have some responding to it, then you as the principal will collect all of that information, because that is human resource information. And you are liable by law to collect that information and have it available for human resources. So that's one important thing. So how do you see your teaching style contributing to our school's culture and value? Now you say, well, you're asking all these questions and we can, barely find teachers. But let's establish this. You want to be set apart from all of the other campuses who are looking for teachers. So when you start asking specific questions about your core values and about your mission and your vision, the word will get around that they don't play over there at that school. They want to excel. They may be in an area right now where they're low performing, but they are looking for the best teachers they can find. So you ask them the question, well, how do you, how's your teaching style going to contribute to our culture? So you say, well, maybe, I have new teachers and they have no idea. Well, it's up to you and your teacher team to ask the question and to clarify the question. You may even want to give examples of how they can ask the question. The second question is, how do you plan to create a supportive learning environment for students who come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds? Can they answer that question? Now, we know in the state of Texas that the majority of the teachers who are certified these days are not teachers of color. So that means that they will have a difficult time adjusting to our inner city, to our urban, and to our rural schools. So you need to put these questions on the table as soon as they come in so that they will understand these are our expectations on our campus. The third question is, can you describe a situation where you successfully engaged a student with a poverty mindset, that is an urban school student? How they can overcome challenges, because our children are at a deficit and you're going to be teaching our children. Can you give me an example of what you have done in the past, or what you have learned, or what you have observed when you were working to get your alternative certification at another school or another school district? What did you do to show that you understood that poverty mindset or that rural mindset to help them overcome their challenges? The next thing is that, our poor children and our minority children, for some reason, people don't believe that those children can be excellent. But for you and your teacher team, when you're doing your interviews, you need to ask these questions. And question number 4 is, how do you differentiate your instruction to meet the needs of these diverse learners, including those from poor backgrounds? How do you differentiate? Give me an example of how you did that. And then question number 5 is, can you provide an example of a successful intervention or successful program that you've implemented to support these children who are struggling? There are numerous examples I know that you have observed as a principal where the students were failing, but the teacher just didn't come up with a way to help the child. Um, that poverty mindset that these children have, they don't believe that they can excel. But once you have a team of teachers and you have specific questions that you can ask them, then you're able to find out just what kind of teacher you're getting. It may be that they can't answer all of these questions right off, but if they try, that means that you have something to work with. You understand, or they will tell you, I've never worked in an environment like this, but I would love to learn. I would love for you to be able to teach me just how to work with children who are in an urban environment, who have a mindset of poverty. And then the sixth question you can ask them, can you provide an example of how you've successfully integrated into a new environment? So maybe you have some teacher whose husband is working at one of the local, refineries, and they've been transferred, and they didn't have any opportunities except to work, at your school. And they are coming from an environment that's just completely different. So the question you ask is, how have you integrated into a new culture in the past? It may not be a culture like ours. It may not be an urban culture, but at least you will have that discussion with them. Okay, number 7. How do you see your teaching style contributing to your school's culture and your school's values? Now, we talked about your school core values as we expect excellence from our urban school children. We are not going to have, let's say, for example, a kid that's in the 3rd grade or the 4th grade, and he or she doesn't understand the multiplication facts, and they're on 0 or 1, and you let them sit there. No, ma'am, no, sir. You will just not let them sit there. You will come up with some kind of way to give them an opportunity to move to the 0s, 1s, 2s, and 3s, even if you do it every day. And if you see that they're failing every day, that means that you need to collaborate with your teachers in your group and tell them that I have these 2 or 3 students who, just cannot get it. So what are you doing? Can we do something different? That's an example to show that you can integrate your teaching to meet the needs of your children. Those are the kinds of questions that your team needs to be asking these teachers who are coming into our urban, into our rural schools. Question number 9, how do you plan to create a supportive learning environment for students who come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds? Now, that may sound just overwhelming, because you may have teachers on your staff right now who couldn't answer those questions. But you, as a new principal or the returning principal of an underperforming school, these are the kinds of questions that you are needed to ask, because you are bringing your school up. All right, question number 11. How do you differentiate your instruction to meet the needs of diverse learners? What do you do differently? Have you thought about things that you can do differently? And number 12, can you provide an example of a successful intervention that you have had, or a successful intervention program? And it doesn't need to be anything that's earth-shaking. It could be something that they found out through their teaching, or through their instruction, through their alternative certification program, that this is something that I saw that worked with my students, and this is the program that I use. Okay, so you and your teachers have decided that you have come up with these questions. And all of your teachers have this list of questions. And you may, detract from him or you may subtract from it. But you have to make sure that the people that you are bringing onto your campus understand your vision. They understand your mission. They understand your core values. And of course, they are not going to be 100%. None of us as new teachers or transferring teachers were at 100%. This allows you and your teaching team to know the kinds of teachers that you have, the kinds of professional development that they're going to need, and they are going to need some help. But you know it up front. You don't just hire them because they're certified, or you hire them because we have this new program in the state and you don't have to have certification. But that's good and that's fine. But we have to develop our teachers to teach our children and not take our children for granted. Not bringing in another culture that does not fit in with the environment of the children that we are teaching. Now, the next 3 things I'm going to tell you, if you have guts enough to do it, I want you to do it because I have done it and it has worked tremendously. Incorporate scenario-based questions. Craft a scenario or a story or a situation that you have had in the past. And you ask your candidate, how would you respond to this scenario? Emphasizing, and then when you do your scenario, emphasizing their understanding of your school's culture and the diverse student body. Now, remember, you need to let them know what your vision is. You need to let them know what your mission is, and you need to let them know what your core values are. Don't have them, as responding to these questions and they don't know what kind of environment you have. Now you say, well, they knew where they were coming and they should have done some research. Well, that's good and fine. Okay. But let's go on and lift them up the same way we want them to lift our children up. So let them know what kind of environment they're in, what your culture is, what your core values are, and then do a story, do a scenario. All right, number 14, conduct a mock teaching demonstration. Well, we did this, and let me tell you the story. Well, we had a new teacher, a new math teacher, and he had been teaching at a charter campus, and we finally had a math position on our campus. And but he didn't understand our core values, our mission, and our vision. So we decided, because we had made so many mistakes in the past, we decided that we were going to conduct a mock teaching demonstration. So we told him that he was going to have to teach a lesson, and the lesson will be taught to me and my teacher team. It was about 4 of us, 5 of us. So he had the chance to pick out the lesson that he wanted to teach, which meant that if he knew that he was really good at teaching this one particular lesson, we told him just go on and teach that lesson. Well, he got in that morning, and this was when school was out, and we brought him to the mathematics department, and we put him inside that classroom that if he was chosen, this is the classroom that he would be teaching in. So he wrote, his objectives on the board, and he started teaching, and we started acting like middle school teachers. We raised our hand and we said, we don't know what you're talking about. Or we got into an argument. As a matter of fact, because we're urban school, we had a couple of kids who were our teachers who decided that they couldn't get along, that they wanted to start a confusion while he was teaching his instruction. So yeah, that's right. We did that. We tried him by fire. So of course, he never expected that we would act like actual sixth, seventh, or eighth grade middle school students. So he stopped his instruction. He took two of our teachers out and he told them what his expectations were and that he was not going to allow that disruption in his class. And then he allowed them, the two teachers who were acting as students, to go back and have a seat and he would continue his instruction. He did a marvelous job. Did he get the position? Absolutely. Right now, he is an assistant principal. He was an excellent teacher. Did we have to grow him? Did we have to do professional development for him? Absolutely. But did we know what we had to work with? You betcha we did. So that is something else that you and your team can use. And the last question is that let's see how these people that we're interviewing, how do they collaborate with the community? How do they collaborate? What kind of community engagement do they have? Now, they may not be from your community or our community, but they have had opportunities to work within the community where they came from, or when they were during their alternative certification program, or if they're working within their present community with their child, or other examples. We want to see that they are engaged in the community and they can collaborate with their colleagues. This information is so important. We just take it for granted. I know that we have people who check in the morning, they scan in, they go to their classrooms, they do the minimum that's required. Our children have activities. They are nowhere to be found. They are not supporting our community. They're not supporting our community activities. They are not supporting our community stakeholders. They're not willing to work with our parents. We can't have teachers who are afraid of our parents simply because our teachers are in, our parents live in an urban school district. I mean, you probably live in an urban school district, and I do too. I mean, are you afraid of me? But you have to hit all of these scenarios. You have to be able to explain that these children deserve the best. Their parents are sending us the best they have. And that's what we work with. And that's when you get back to your core values. We expect excellence. And when you have that along with your teachers collaborating, when you have your team of teachers collaborating and everybody is asking these same questions, well, I can tell you what's going to happen. First of all, your teacher team that's helping you with the interview, they are going to share with the other teachers on the campus that these are the expectations. Now, you may be a new or returning principal, and you were not able to articulate these expectations. But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the questions. I'm giving you the expectations. Along with that, you will have teachers who are coming in for interviews, and they will go out into their communities and say, when they get ready, if you want to apply, for a position at an urban school, make sure you go to Dr. So-and-so's school, because they're going to ask you some questions. You will know up front just what the expectations are of that school. And then make sure you, as the principal and as the teacher team, you identify and do all of these things that you are asking these new prospective candidates to consider. So you say again, It's time to start the interview process. And I cannot find anybody that I think will work in this school. You have a teacher team and y'all have to come up with questions. My point today is to make sure that you ask the right questions, looking for the right answers, knowing that you will not have 100% of your teacher candidates to answer the way you want them to. You just need to see what you're working with. So today, as we close, remember that this is the time of year. Start preparing your teacher team to help you with your interview questions. You can have 2 to 4 to 6. If you have a big school, you may want to have up to 6, maybe 8 people asking the questions. You may have one from each discipline. You may have one from fine arts, from math, science, social studies, language arts. Your physical education, your music teachers, they all need to be involved. Your coaches need to be involved in asking these questions. And what it does, it makes them better teachers because they have established that this is what we're looking for. These are our expectations. We don't expect to have teachers who are trash teaching our children. Here are our expectations. So, again, Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. And we do that by having our teacher teams asking questions with our principals to provide the best teachers that we know how to stand in front of our urban and our rural school teachers. So we'll see you next time on Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. We'll see you next time.